I need a slide bolt for the storage cabinet on the back of the teeny home. I got everything I need. I got a heavy bar. I got a pipe that bar fits in. I got some flat bar. And I got some little skinny bar for the handle. So first thing we need to do is cut three pieces of these. Oh wow, the same width as this flat bar, which is 1 inch. So I need 3 pieces 1 inch long. I'll probably use the big grinder because it's got a blade in it. I knew this was going to happen. I got a small welding machine at home for helping Debbie with her art, and that's where the helmet is, the welding hood. So I'm doing this in the blind, just getting lined up, closing my eyes, and it's okay. Nothing to brag about. So all the parts are made. I'm going to go home and put it together, paint it. These are long because I need to mark them in place and drill them and cut the extra length off in place. So I have the, one of these is going to go between the doors like a brace, like one of these, but it'll be between the doors. One of these is where this part goes down and you put a padlock through it. And the other 3 of these, one of these will be on one door and 2 will be on the other door. Pretty simple. We'll go home, clean them up, and paint them, and fit them, and put them on.
I'm assembling everything with wood screws. Obviously bolts would be more secure. I am going to take this thing back off when I get ready to paint these doors, whenever it dries out. And I may replace them with bolts, or I may not. I mean, it's only going to keep out honest people. If somebody wants to get in there bad enough, there's nobody that lives within a mile of this thing, so they could beat it to death and get it off no matter how secure I made it. But I think screws will keep honest people out and the curious people out.
Pencil.
put the little bracket for the padlock in the wrong place just to see if anybody was paying attention. Because apparently I wasn't. And I never realized how much my hands shake till I watched these videos. Holy smokes. I don't know how I'll get anything done. It's terrible.
Well, we have a lock. Now I know locks really only keep out honest people and curious people, and not criminals, because this thing's out in the middle of nowhere. If they wanted to break into the door, they could break into the door. If we do rent it out as a teeny house or as an Airbnb or something like that, it would be nice to have a spot to keep like some tools, keep the propane tank so nobody uses it on their barbecue pit, etc., etc. So this is good stuff. I will take it apart and clean it up and paint it. I'm gonna paint the box, but that is dependent on it quitting raining, and rain is forecast every day this week. It already rained twice today, and my yard is just a big mud hole, as is everybody else's in this area. So I ordered two little inexpensive 12-volt fixtures. I'm gonna put one there in the kitchen area, and if they work okay and give off a decent amount of light, I think I have places for 5 more of them, because I got a feeling for the first little while when we set up camp we will not have electricity, so at least we can have some lights at night. And thanks to having marked these 12-volt boxes with the little screw just right, there's the wire, got it hooked up. I'm kind of guessing here on what's going to be the positive and what's going to be the negative. May have to do some adjusting after the fact, because none of these wires are hooked up underneath the trailer right now. So the bathroom door is too thin to put an ordinary doorknob in, so we have to go back in time and get what they call, I think it's called a rim latch. I ordered it off the internet and it came, and it's teeny, it's like a miniature rim latch. I had to glue a chunk of wood on the door here to bring these out flush. I had the knob, but because the rim latch is so teeny, the offset is so minimal that on this side I couldn't put a doorknob because it would jam up. So I found an old piece of a gate latch and cut a square hole in it and welded it to the little deal, but it's going to be all right. So we now have a knob on the bathroom. One less thing on the to-do list. I guess I need to do the wall with the sticky notes on them and move sticky notes around from to be done, in progress, and done, but I'm not gonna do that. I love messing with trailers. You just gotta love it. What you doing, Dave?
Sweating.
So I borrowed a track hoe to do some more work at the property, and on the way, of course, we had a blowout on the trailer, and we're not in my truck, and I didn't have the T-wrench or jack. We made do with the jack that came with the Toyota truck. It's my son's truck by the damnedest, but the jack would not lift the trailer with the weight of the mini hoe on it. So we swung the bucket out, kind of gave the jack a little help pushing the bucket down, and the jack was able to pick up the trailer. We were able to get the lug nuts off, and we just had to be really careful because we were in the road. The boom of the Trico was in the road, so one of us flagged trucks and cars, and luckily we were on a rural highway, very little traffic. Everybody went way out of the way to get on the other side of the road, but nobody slowed down any. Not looking like much dirt work's going to get done this week, for sure. So last week on Debbie's project, we finished the mold, and I showed you the mother mold from the top. So now we are trying to get the original, the clay, out of the mother mold, and we'll turn the mother mold over and cast the permanent piece, the final casting. So it's pretty darn heavy. We were able to make do. I'm just going to get this on the ground. Then we stood it up, and then we freed the clay from the mold. And clays always come out easy, because if there's any undercuts or little spots or whatever that don't want to come loose, the clay it just deforms. You just rip it apart. It will come out. And when you go to get the permanent cast out, it's a little bit trickier.
Okay.
Oh, the clay's coming apart from the rubber.
I'm gonna do one on your side.
Okay. It moved over there. Wait, hold on.
No, I'm gonna move this clip down.
Whoa.
Okay, we gotta go away from the table a little bit with this.
Okay.
All right, now my turn.
Mm-hmm.
Now your turn.
Okay.
Now my turn.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Hold this down. That's it.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, let's go to you and lean this against that green table.
Okay. Yeah, I guess so. Upside down mold. There it is.
Upside down mold. There it is. So now we can do a positive in this mold, and it'll look just like the original in the clay, but it'll be forever, or pretty much forever. We're gonna have a lot. Okay. Pop it back down.
So this is the mold for the bottom part of the relief. It is a block mold. We just poured rubber. No mother mold was needed. There's very little relief on the surface of the arc, so maybe a 1/4 inch of rubber poured over the top is enough to cover everything. Works good on this one because there was no relief. If you try to do a block mold of that big piece, the rubber would be like 3.5 inches thick, and it would weigh 500 pounds and cost $1 bajillion. So depending on the piece, you got to use different methods, but this one's easy. Just a block mold. Pour it the next day, pull it off, and you're done. So Debbie spends several hours pulling every little speck of clay out of the rubber mold, and then her friend Kim came over and they painted the matrix drive. A couple of layers of just the pure matrix drive for face coat to make sure we pick up all the detail, and then the remaining layers get chopped fiberglass mixed with it, and that's for strength. And then you can see I made this stainless steel, it's a French cleat system, and it embeds into the back of the art. And there's a matching cleat that bolts to the wall, so you just bolt the other part to the wall, and then it hangs on this cleat. So ended up with a lot of, we used two 45-pound buckets of matrix drive, plus water, plus the stainless steel. So the thing ended up being too heavy for me and Debbie to move around by ourselves. We had to call for help.
Oh, look, it's raining. What do you know? Almost 25 days out of the last 30, we've had at least some rain. Makes it hard for everything to dry up. Rain a little harder now. We've got some dark clouds. Not sure what's coming up. Getting these big casts out of the mold is always a little challenging because they're not like bulletproof. They're pretty strong, but they're not bulletproof. In this case, I put some C-clamps on the angle iron and I put a little board where I could pry up, and I've got this edge to break loose, so that's a good thing. On the other side, the angle faces down, so I can just pry on the angle, but it hadn't broke loose yet. And on the edges, pretty hard to do anything really. I can put a clamp and try to grab that, but that's kind of iffy. Maybe my vice grips, maybe. Okay, three sides loose. That side's being a little tenacious. If we just keep wiggling it, it's going to give up the ghost. With the rubber like they usually do.
Okay, good cast. We got it out. Nothing broke. I ground the back to knock all those little whiskers off and put a coat of sealer paint. And now Debbie's going to patina the front.